Today we're going to make a Coffin chocolate box. So I'm going in with my chalk marker to outline my template onto black felt. Once you have it outlined, you'll move forward with cutting it out, and then we'll outline our cardstock, which we'll be gluing in between the two felt pieces. I use cardstock for some of my felt food just to give it more structure. So once those pieces are glued together, you can look to see if there's any overhang or anything that needs to be trimmed before we move forward with outlining our sides. So once you have it trimmed, you will take your side pieces and outline them also onto the black felt. Now we have 2 pieces for the bottom of the coffin, 2 pieces for the top of the coffin, and then 4 pieces for both sides of the coffin. So you'll be using the longer rectangle for the side. Just make sure that when you're outlining it, you're doubling it. You'll need to do 4 strips, which we'll put together 2 on each side, just to give the coffin a little bit more structure. So once you have it all cut out, this is the pieces that you have, and then we can move forward with doing the sides. So I'm going to start with the top of the coffin. What we're going to do is there are 4 layers. So you will take there's 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom layer, you're going to take your needle and push it through the bottom layer. Make sure to hide your knot that's at the end of your thread. You're then going to come up and over the edge, push your needle through all 3 layers on the top, and then pull tight. Then move your needle over a little bit, push it through all 4 layers, run your needle through that hoop, and then pull tight. This is your blanket stitch. You will continue that stitch along the whole edge of the coffin. Once you get to the corner, you will want to secure everything that you just did. So run your needle through that hoop not once but twice, and then pull tight, which will create a knot in the thread and secure everything. If you have a little bit that's over the side, just trim it off with your scissors so that it's all even. And then from there, we're going to move on to the long side of the coffin. So you'll take your 2 pieces and you will match up the corners. And then you will take your needle and you'll come up and over that edge. Make sure the edges are lined up. And then you'll push your needle through all 4 layers of felt. And then you're going to run your needle through that hoop and then pull tight. You will move your needle over just a little bit, push it through all 4 layers, run it through the hoop, pull tight. This will be, again, your blanket stitch along this whole long edge of your coffin. Once you get to the bottom corner, you'll want to secure everything that you just did by running your needle through that hoop not once but twice. And then, of course, cut off the extra so that it matches perfectly with the bottom of the coffin. And now we're moving on to the bottom side of the coffin. Again, the same thing. Push it through all 4 layers, and then you're going to run your needle through the hoop, pull tight, and do your blanket stitch along that whole edge as well. Again, once you get to the corner, we want to secure all those stitches. And then it's time to move to the last side piece. Again, matching up those corners, pushing the needle through all 4 layers, and then running it through that hoop and continuing your blanket stitch along that whole edge. Once you get to the bottom corner, secure all your stitches and then cut off the extra that you have so that it lines up perfectly with the top of the coffin. So the next step will be to add pipe cleaner, connect the corners, and also blanket stitch along the whole top edge of the coffin. So we're going to start with our needle between the 2 pieces, hide your knot between the 2 pieces, then come up and over those edges, push it through the inside piece and come up between the 2 pieces. Then you're gonna move over just a little bit, push it through both pieces this time, run your needle through the hoop, and then pull tight. Continue this blanket stitch until you get to that corner. Once you get to the corner, secure all the stitches that you just made by running your needle through the hoop, not once but twice, pull tight. And then we're gonna add pipe cleaner. So you're gonna measure it out to fit perfectly onto that top piece. I add pipe cleaner so that it gives it more structure and that the sides won't fold or bend easily. And I'm just hot gluing them into place. From there, we are going to connect the sides together or the corners together. So you're going to pinch them together with your thumb and your index finger. You're going to run your needle through all the layers of the felt and then run your needle through that hoop and pull tight and blanket stitch all the way down. Once you get to the bottom corner, I will go diagonally, like go down into the coffin, the base of it, And then I will run my needle through the hoop, not once, but twice, and then pull tight, run my needle back into the coffin, and then cut off the extra thread. So I do want to apologize. I have yet to buy wire cutters. So I do have other scissors. Like, I'm not cutting my wire or my pipe cleaner with the scissors I cut felt with. But I know that was an issue last time. I've yet to get wire cutters. But anyways, from there you will add your pipe cleaner to the long side of the coffin. You will glue it in place. Once you have that glued in, you'll start your blanket stitch along the top edge. And you'll do that blanket stitch along that whole side until you get to the bottom corner, and you will secure all your stitches by running your needle through your hoop, not once but twice. And then we're going to connect our corners together, run your needle through all 4 layers of felt, run your needle through the hoop, pull tight, and then blanket stitch all the way to the bottom corner, and then secure your stitches. Run your needle through your coffin, and then cut off the extra. And then from there, you'll go ahead and add your pipe cleaner to the bottom piece, glue it in there so that it's nice and secure and it doesn't move or shift. And then continue on with your blanket stitch until you get to the next corner. And then you're going to secure your stitches. And then we'll have one last side piece before we are all done with the bottom half of the chocolate box. Just as a reminder, when you're connecting all these sides together, just make sure that when you get done with a side, you're pulling it away from the coffin just to make sure that the whole side was connected. Sometimes when you have so many layers, your needle might miss a layer, because maybe they're not all aligned, or so just make sure that your edges are always matching, and that you pull your sides away from the coffin bottom just to make sure that they are all attached, because it will create a hole if you don't have them attached. So the last corner, we will do that blanket stitch all the way to the bottom corner, secure your stitch, run it through your coffin, and then cut off the extra. And there is the bottom of your chocolate box. So these cupcake liners I got at Hobby Lobby in the baking section. They're the perfect size for a little chocolate. But now we're going to move on to making the lid of the chocolate box, which is seriously the same process of making the bottom. The only difference is the lid is going to be a little bit bigger and the sides are going to be a little bit more narrow. So before adding cardstock to my top lid, I'm going to go in and design it. I'm going with skull and crossbones, but you can just design it however you want, or just keep it black if you want to keep it simple. But I'm outlining it onto white felt and then cutting it out. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue and just place it, just a dab, just to keep it from shifting as I stitch it onto the felt. But you're going to take your matching thread and come up from the back side, and you're running your needle along the edge of the design. Then drop your needle into the design and then push it back towards the back of the coffin. You're going to continue this stitch along the whole edge of the skull. You're pretty much just securing it onto the black felt. But once you are done with a stitch or a section, like once you're done with the skull and you're moving to the bones, you just want to make sure that you secure everything. So turn it over, take a little bit of felt with your needle, run it through that hoop, not once but twice, and then pull tight, cut off the extra. But this is what it will look like after you're done stitching it. And then we can go on and cut out our cardstock and then glue it in between the 2 layers like we did with the bottom piece. Once you have it nice and glued, we're going to start again on all those sides. And like I said, it's exactly the same as the bottom. You're doing the exact same thing. The only difference is these side pieces are a little bit more narrow. You don't want them as thick as the bottom pieces. So these are all the pieces. Once you have them cut out, 2 for one side, 2 for the other side, 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom of the coffin, just like the bottom of the coffin was. So again, I'm going to start at the top of the coffin and I'm going to blanket stitch all the way around with all the sides. Then I'm going to go back and connect all the corners. And this is what it will look like after that step. Now it's time to connect the corners, blanket stitch along the top edge, and add your pipe cleaner. And there you go. Yeah, that is the top of your Coffin chocolate box. Now you will need to go to part 2, I'm sorry, to learn how to make the chocolates. You can find this template in my Etsy store. Happy Halloween!